10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Michael Voss, the Dragon of the Southern Tier, and for some reason the first time we did this, we lost all the sound, nothing recorded, so we're doing it over again. And what we're talking about today, a lot of people may recall earlier this week on Tuesday, we were talking about the U.S. women's soccer team. They had, in particular, we're talking about the captain, Megan Rapinoe, and the fact that they were dragging the U.S. flag. And it was a big question. In fact, we did an article on it. I think a few people saw that, and I want to reference it again in just a second here, just so that people have some reference on that. And this is the U.S. women's team, and I'm going to stop it right here. So the first thing you'll see, the flag is being dragged on the ground. That is a fact. We're seeing the flag being dragged on the ground, which is a disrespect, and that is intentional. She is obviously not trying to hold it off of the ground. So that's a fact. Let's go a little further in the video. Now, in that entire video that you can see on YouTube, which is under the Did U.S. Women's Soccer Disrespect the Flag? Yes, see for yourself. We go into that entire video, that short clip. It's about 18 seconds long. We go into it in detail, seeing exactly how they were dragging the flag, seeing Megan Rapinoe as she was dancing potentially on top of the flag and stepping on it along with her other colleagues until it was taken away by Kelly O'Hara, and she saves the flag, picks it up, and gives it the respect that it is due. A lot of people have been commenting on that. But there is more news that has come out about this, more news that I want to convey with you. And again, I'm sorry if it's the second time you're seeing this, but the first video didn't have sound. So one of the first things that we wanted to discuss about that is we see that this is not a new thing. This has been going on for a while. In fact, we see an article from the LA Times, which is from September 16th of 2016. The title is Megan Rapinoe Draws the Ire of U.S. Soccer by Kneeling During the Anthem Before a National Game. And in that article, we see that obviously the entire nation was upset. This is during the time, and to put it into perspective, this is when Colin Kaepernick was doing it with the NFL. We saw some other players did this. And we saw that this was during President Obama. This has nothing to do with President Trump. This is about President Obama's term, and they were kneeling. And it was considered a disrespect. It was a disrespect in the NBA. It was a disrespect in the NFL. And it was considered a disrespect in U.S. soccer. In fact, U.S. soccer responded to her kneeling by saying, quote, "In front of a national and often global audiences, the playing of our national anthem is an opportunity for our men and women's national team players and coaches to reflect upon the liberties and freedom we all appreciate in this country." They go on to say, "As part of the privilege to represent your country, we have an expectation that our players and coaches will stand and honor our flag while the national anthem is being played." I think that's the absolute minimum you can expect, especially when we're talking about U.S. women's soccer. That is something that on an international stage, the Women's World Cup, that is something that is directly the result of the United States pushing the rest of the world. Now, given this is because the U.S. men's team sucks and we haven't done well, we can't compete with the rest of the world. And the U.S. Women's Soccer League was created so the U.S. could dominate because the other countries of the world don't have women's soccer teams. They don't care about the sport. It's why it draws in about $131 million worldwide versus men's soccer, which brings in $6 billion, which is why they have a pay discrepancy. But beyond that, we know that if it were not for the United States helping to push the rest of the world to create a women's soccer league, the women athletes that play this soccer they cannot have that stage. They would never get it before. They didn't have it before. So the very least they could do is respect the flag, respect our nation, not kneel, and have some respect. And that's why U.S. Soccer made the comment. But in addition to that, the coach of the team, Jill Ellis, went on to say that everything for me, from the day I took over this job, it's about the team. And if something supersedes the team, that's where I get concerned. And I think it's something that I have to reflect on at this point. That was in 2016 that we saw that Jill Ellis made that statement. Jill Ellis is still the coach of the U.S. women's soccer team. She didn't do anything. We know she didn't do anything because, as I said, when the women in 2019, 3 years later, we saw the outburst that came from no one else but Ms. Rapinoe, and that Megan Rapinoe has infected and affected her other teammates. We see that because the flag is being dragged on the ground. And in that video, as it continues, and you can check it out for yourself, you're seeing that they start dancing, potentially stepping all over the flag, and then tossing it aside like it's a piece of cloth that has no meaning because they want to celebrate themselves. The moment is about the individuals, and they supersede the team. They supersede the nation. This is disrespect on an international level. Around the world, they're watching members who are supposed to represent the United States disrespect our nation, the people who have bled and died for our nation, the nation that gave them the opportunity to make the money, the hundreds of thousands, the millions that they are making, both in advertising and in their pay, and the opportunity to express themselves as athletes. But it gets worse. It gets worse, believe it or not, because the story doesn't end there. You see, there was a celebration in New York City just 2 days ago. And in fact, as Breitbart reported here, and you may not have seen this before, but the article from Breitbart is Megan Rapinoe smirks, refuses to put hand over heart during a national anthem at the World Cup parade in New York City. And we go further in that story and we see that there is a picture taken by Rick Leventhal of Fox News. But most importantly, this is a picture that shows, as I have it on screen right now, that this is Megan. I'm pointing out for those who are listening to this on audio. I'm pointing out we have a very clear picture of Megan Rapinoe, and she's just there smirking. She's smiling. She's having the greatest time of her life by not putting her hand over her heart, by not reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. And this has affected other members. In this picture, you can point out one or two, maybe three other individuals who also are not placing their hands over their heart. They are also not reciting the pledge. This is something that's affecting the entire team. It is a disrespect by all of the U.S. women's, well, I can't say all, members of the U.S. women's soccer team. And she goes on to say that I'll probably never put my hand over my heart. I'll probably never sing the national anthem again. That is Megan Rapinoe. And that's not about President Trump. She said never. Unless she plans to die in the next 5 years before there's another president, she's talking about America. She doesn't want to put her hand over her heart for America. She doesn't want to sing the national anthem for America, a nation that has given her the opportunity that no other nation in the world would do. This is a nation that has given her a spotlight to stand out and to make money that she could not get anywhere else. Anywhere else. And I don't care if you want to say there's a pay discrepancy. She's getting paid more than, I'd say, 75% of the nation. And she's on an international spotlight. She can't do that on her own. It didn't exist until the United States did it. So there's continuing disrespect, and a disrespect that we see that's happening to players on the field, and it's happening in events that are being done in their honor. And it gets worse because it's not over. You see, based on all of this, the Senate, 25% of the Senate, 25 women who are members of the Senate, have invited the U.S. women's soccer team to come over to D.C. And in fact, in the article you can see, which is found on Yahoo, all female senators ask U.S. women's national soccer team to meet. And this is the thing that's important, because this is an article that was circulated by the Huffington Post. And the Huffington Post takes a very interesting look at this, because what they're saying is, and they're quoting their quote is that the letter that was sent out by Senator Jean Shaheen out of Delaware, out of New Hampshire. She's a Democrat. She says, it's in honor of your accomplishments, in recognition of your victory, and in acknowledgement of the work still before us, the bipartisan women of the Senate look forward to seeing you during your visit to the Capitol. Now, mind you, we already heard from Megan Rapinoe that she doesn't want to go to the White House. She's actually disrespectful in saying that she's not going to the White House, which is her right. She doesn't have to be disrespectful and vulgar in using the language she uses. But we're seeing that they're going to the Capitol. They're going to be highlighted for an accomplishment. And I want you to think about that. That's the key word there. In recognition of their victory, which is a victory for America. So it's not the team, it's America's victory. And it's in their accomplishments on the field and the victory of America. Because when you think about that, let's look at what someone who isn't the Huffington Post with a very biased political view, what did they say? Well, that means we're going to look at The Hill on the same article. And we see that, again, the article, it's a quote by Senator Jean Shaheen, and she says, we believe on a bipartisan basis that your model of unity, diversity, and passion should be something that is consistently celebrated and emulated. I want you to stop and think about that. And I'm going to highlight this for those who are looking at the video here so that you can see what I'm talking about. They're saying the model of unity, diversity, and passion. What model of America are we talking about here? Okay? What is the model of unity, diversity, and passion besides the fact that you have unity and diversity? Kind of sounds odd, but more importantly, what are we talking about? What are they unified on? What is the thing that they're trying to emphasize? What is their model for America, for women who are coming, who plan to follow them, for everyone in the entire globe to follow? That they drag the flag, that they disrespect their nation, that they have no care or concern about the flag, the people who have bled and died for their freedom, for the ability for them to play a game and to make more money than most Americans and to have an international spotlight. That's the model they're talking about. Does that sound American to you? Does that sound like something that you want them to be honored for stepping on the flag, for tossing it aside like it's a cloth, for not saying the pledge, for wanting to never sing the national anthem, to never place your hand over your heart for the benefit of a nation that has given you everything? Do you think that's something that should be honored? Because that's what the Senate is saying. That is what the members of the Senate are saying and saying that they should do. So I'm asking you, what do you think? Because the senators work for you. They represent all of us. And they listen to us. And I'm wondering, what would be the question you would ask the senators? What do you want your senator to ask Megan Rapinoe and the other members who dropped the flag, dragged it into the field, dropped it on the ground, and then stepped all over it? What do you want them to say? What do you want that senator to say to them? What do you want them to say to the people who are standing in New York City with a national spotlight and an international spotlight on them as they refuse to pledge allegiance, as they refuse to put their hand over their heart, as they refuse to recognize the people who have bled and died for their ability to have a certain political view? What would you tell your senator? I'm really, really curious. And by the way, I did ask people about that on Facebook, and I've been listening to comments about it. And I'll share it with you. I want to share with you what we're looking at here, because what I said on Facebook was, and you can look it up for yourself under Michael Vasquez, that's my name, 25% of the Senate want to speak with Megan Rapinoe and women's soccer players in honor of their achievements. But Rapinoe's leadership calls for kneeling, allowing the U.S. flag to be dragged on international airwaves. And I'll probably never put my hand over my heart. I'll probably never sing the national anthem again. Should such leadership and disdain for America get Senate and ultimately taxpayer and voter support? That's my question on Facebook, and it's been getting some attention there, but I wanted to open it up to everyone in the internet. Please share this. Share your comments on YouTube, on Facebook. When you see this, tell me, do you think that this should be a comment, that this is what U.S. soccer is about? Is this the way that athletes should represent America? Is this what you want your senators to point out as a unifying and model that women and youth and everyone in the world should follow when they think of America? I don't know. I don't think so, but I want to hear what you think. And I want you to speak out, not just to me, but when you're writing in the comments on YouTube, on Facebook, you're also writing to your senator. Let them hear what you think about it as well. I thank you for your time today. I'm glad we're going to have sound here. And please, let me know what you think. Until next time, thank you.